Shape of My Heart, what a brilliant guitar piece by Dominic Miller and Sting. This lesson is based on a few acoustic performances and interviews that I've watched Dominic Miller do, and there's a couple of hairy chords in there which he points out himself as being pretty tricky, and he's also given us some workarounds and showed us how he plays them when he has to stand up on stage, you know, and it's really this one to start with. Heck of a chord, but there's a workaround for that. There's a workaround for another bit that he does. So I'm going to include all of those. Download your tab. It's got the first section, which is kind of the main body of the song, played in the original sort of difficult form, if you like. Then the second time that section appears, there's the workarounds within that section. So I'll show you what they are when we come up to them, but let's get going. So we're moving through these pretty tricky chord shapes. What we're doing, and I'm not going to try and name these notes on the frets too much. Look at the tab, watch it as you go, but use these fingers because these are the fingers that Dominic Miller uses. That little jump down from the 5th fret to the 4th fret with your bass note and your thumb. See that on the tab, make sure you get that right? Then we're back up to a very slightly different shape. So our note has moved up 1 fret on the G string. That's the only difference. Then we move to this chord here that is really quite tricky. Right? Now, if you can't get your fingers around that, do not despair, because if you play this note, which is a D, 5th fret A string, if you play that as an open D string, and I think the only reason that Dominic Miller doesn't play it that way is for tone reasons, but it's a very slight difference. If you play that note on the open D string, suddenly that becomes a lot easier. Then the very next bit he does, he frets this A note on the 5th fret of the E string and plays this, which is a lovely tone, sounds nice, but you can also play this with the open A string. And it sounds pretty close. Okay, so there's a couple of your workarounds, there's more to come. Then he moves up to that C sharp 7 chord, and this bit, where he spells out that "that's not the shape of my heart" and lands on those chords. He doesn't always do that little bit. Sometimes he just plays the D and then to the G sharp minor 11, which is a beautiful chord, but that's what it is, and holds those chords rather than spells that melody out to leave, I think, the vocals room to do their thing. Sometimes he does it, sometimes he doesn't, but both ways are ways that he plays it. So that section moves through, it repeats 6 times for the first kind of half of the song. At the end of the 6th time, he goes, "That's not the shape of my heart." We move the bass note down to an open E, keep that F sharp minor, and then back up to the D, shape of my, he holds that through. Now there's a bar of 2/4 there to keep that timing all straight. Pay attention to where it is, because when you play that the D, and then you move down to that G sharp minor 11, then you hold that for 2 full bars and we're back into 4/4 time. After that, we move into what is the B section, but it's really the same as the A section in a different key. So now we're doing this. Right? Same thing again. And then we back up. This time it's the note note on the D string that's changed by 1 fret. Now these shapes are easy, but we go to an E, and they're just the notes he uses, and then a G sharp 7, then an A7, and when he plays this, he kind of mutes that D string in amongst it, so he goes. Moves down to that chord, right? So it's then C sharp minor, lifts off to a C sharp minor, back to that chord again, A7, finishes on a really nice open A sus2 chord. Then it's back to the original A section. So the second time we do the A section, we're doing a couple of little workarounds which shows you an easier way to play these chords. And you can use these workarounds anytime you want. So we go same thing. Here, where he does that tricky chord, instead he goes right? And this time with the D, he plays this sort of D, and then goes to your G sharp minor 11 like that. And then we head to the outro. Now the outro is the A section. But on this time, play this, C sharp 7, and then land on the F sharp minor, and you finish there. There's some great finger exercises in there. Dominic Miller is a really, really interesting and good and tasteful guitarist. But that, as I said, is based on some of the acoustic performances he did, Dud Dilly Dooley with Sting. And I'll put the links below to those live acoustic kind of performances. I say live, but they're kind of like studio interviews and stuff like that. And they're sitting on a lounge and playing this song, and it's really, really nice and interesting to see how he plays this on one guitar. So you can call this an acoustic arrangement if you like, but it's already a great acoustic arrangement. Shape of My Heart by Sting and Dominic Miller, and hope you've enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. We'll see you here again next time.